We are constantly bombarded with distractions, which makes it difficult and nearly impossible sometimes to listen to our bodies. Often people struggle with the most basic signals, such as the difference between thirst and hunger. Constant dings and rings from phone calls, calendar reminders, text messages, Facebook messages, and other social media notifications. Combine that with medications, ultra-processed foods, stress from families and work, along with poor sleep, and these are just some of the things that have the average person very disconnected from their own body. It's time we all slow down and listen to what our body is trying to tell us. Welcome to the Foundational Health Podcast, where we provide education and inspiration to help guide you on your journey to look better, feel better, and most importantly, heal better. Hello, and welcome to the Foundational Health Podcast. I'm Dr. Kevin Schultz, and today we are going to talk about the importance of slowing down and listening to our bodies. We're also going to explore an often overlooked part of listening to our bodies, which is knowing what your symptoms are telling you and what your body is trying to accomplish with those symptoms. Be sure to stick around to the end, where we'll talk about some practical ways to de-stress and unplug from all of the noise and distractions. Let's start with one of the most simple things: dehydration and the importance of hydration. I'm not going to go deep on this topic because I have an entire episode devoted to this because of how important it is. Episode number 3, which also happens to be pillar number 3 of the 5 pillars of foundational health. So when you finish this episode, I want you to go back and listen to that episode. Proper hydration for some of you is very possibly the most simple, low-cost thing you can do to impact and improve your health. Some of the very common symptoms of dehydration are feeling hungry, headaches, brain fog, depression, anxiety, poor sleep, fatigue, constipation, and other digestive issues, even joint and muscle pain and joint and muscle tension. Because we aren't properly listening to our bodies, people will often reach for extra empty calories when they often just need water. They pop an aspirin for their pain or their headache when they simply needed water. They go to their doctor for an antidepressant or a muscle relaxer or even painkillers and sleep meds when their body is craving water. Now, certainly it might be a more serious, complex problem, but if you aren't listening to your body and giving it the basic things it needs, you'll never know that because you're not listening. In fact, you are telling your body to literally shut up with all of the symptom suppressors that you are taking. And as a result, if it is something more serious, you often won't find out until the disease process has progressed because you have silenced your body for so long and ignored the symptoms, which are warning signs, when your body was simply trying to tell you what it needed. Some of you might be thinking, well, I drink plenty of water, but I still have most of or all of those symptoms that you mentioned. Well, all of those symptoms can be signs that you're also missing other basic things that our body needs in order to function properly. And the cool thing is that if you really feel like you are doing all of those basic things really well, which most people aren't, but if you're being honest with yourself, you feel like, hey, I'm doing all of those things really well. The cool thing is then it's time that you can take a deeper dive. You can talk to your functional MD or reach out to me through our website about running some tests to find out if you have something else going on. If you have leaky gut, do you have high inflammation in your body? Are you missing nutrients? Are your vitamin D3 levels low? Your hormones, are they out of balance? Or for some people, possibly all of those things or a combination at least of those things that I mentioned. Foundational health is all about giving your body the basic things it needs to build a solid foundation. Okay, let's take a look at some common daily symptoms that people deal with and what your body is probably trying to tell you with that symptom. Again, remember, symptoms are warning signs. Let's start with pain. Pain is a warning that something is wrong and we should investigate to find out what's wrong. It's not a sign that we should be popping an over-the-counter or prescription painkiller. Let me explain this a little further. Let's use something simple that I deal with in my office on a daily basis. Low back pain. Someone gets low back pain, it's a sign that something is wrong. And then they pop a pain med so they can get through the day. In my office, people will say all the time, yeah, I know those things are horrible for my liver and my kidneys and they're bad for gut health, but, which by the way, all of that is true. They are horrible for all of those things and more. But on top of that, let's say the low back pain is from a bulging disc, which it often is, and your body is saying, well, don't bend to the right or don't pick up anything heavy because that's putting more pressure on an already bulging disc, which is now hitting the nerve root even more, which is what is making the pain worse. So now instead you pop your painkiller so you can get through the day, which allows you to bend to the right, move things, and pick things up. But because you are ignoring your body, you are very, very possibly making the actual disc injury worse in the short term and the long term, and chances are that it is going to come back to haunt you at some point because you didn't get to the cause of the problem in the first place. That same rule applies to any type of pain you are simply trying to silence with a pain med, whether it's a knee, shoulder, or anything else for that matter. I'm not trying to brag here at all with what I'm about to say, but I have never been on any type of pain med, not over the counter or not prescribed at any point in my life, despite cutting off the tip of my finger, breaking a leg with a golf club. That's a story for another day. 3 dental implants and many, many more things that I've gone through throughout my life. So I'm not saying I wouldn't ever use one. I just strongly, personally believe in listening to my body and using natural methods whenever possible. So even though I have never taken a traditional pain med, I have done plenty of natural things that work with your body to help you feel better, yes, but also more importantly, they help you heal better without all of the nasty side effects. So here are some of my personal favorites for myself, as well as my family and my patients. Evening primrose oil can help tremendously with menstrual cramps for ladies. Lavender and peppermint oil are amazing for relieving headaches and muscle pain. Arnica oil, my family's favorite, definitely my wife's favorite. It's the go-to in our house for bruises, for insect bites, for other injuries, and much more. Works incredibly, incredibly well. Magnesium-rich warm Epsom salt baths are incredible for muscle and joint pain and soreness. Anybody who's ever taken one and been really sore knows just how effective they are. Foam rollers, like my favorite, the chirp wheels, are incredible for easing muscle soreness and spinal tension. Bone broth, believe it or not, is a natural joint anti-ager, and it's great for so many other things as well, like healing your gut. It's my favorite hot morning beverage, as I mentioned before. It is incredible, and it's also a natural pain reliever. Sauna, red light therapy, cold water therapy, grounding mats and sheets. There's also countless things you can do outside of your home as well, like massage, acupuncture, chiropractic, happens to be my personal favorite, and so many more. So many of the things I mentioned above, including the Nutridyne essential oils, we have listed on our website for our top recommended brands that we have researched and trust, from the grounding mats to the saunas and so much more. Those are all natural things, again, that help to support your body without all of the side effects. Yes, you're probably still going to feel more pain, more discomfort than you would if you covered it up with a pain med, over-the-counter, or prescription. But that's actually a good thing. It allows you to listen to your body instead of numbing the pain and going about your day and never figuring out what's causing it and never healing from it in the first place. Moving on from pain, let's talk about digestive issues. Bloating, diarrhea, constipation can all signal low levels of good bacteria in your gut. They can signal leaky gut or something as simple as dehydration. Your body is likely asking for more water, more good food, a good probiotic. It is not asking for Pepto-Bismol or other symptom suppressors. If we look at fatigue, fatigue can indicate a lack of sleep. It can indicate that you are overstressed, which most of us are. Hormone imbalances or even misalignments in the upper neck caused from staring down at a cell phone all day long. Often people will drink extra coffee, 5-Hour Energy, or Monster drinks instead of focusing on good sleep hygiene, getting their upper neck checked by a chiropractor, doing some yoga, prayer, meditation, all things that you can do to de-stress. And if you feel like you're doing all those right things and you still think you have a hormonal imbalance because of other symptoms, this would be a good time to order something like a Dutch hormone test, which you can do through a functional MD. We actually have it available on our website under the Nutridyne tab as well. But when you feel like, hey, I'm doing all the right things, I've got my foundation down, but I'm still experiencing fatigue, I still think my hormones have to be playing a role here, that's when you can investigate further. I can also tell you in my experience that decreased fatigue and increased energy is the number one positive side effect that I see when improving the alignment and motion in someone's upper neck. So let me repeat that again. Decreased fatigue and increased energy is the number one positive side effect that I see from chiropractic adjustments for the upper neck area because of the critical role that that area of the spine and nervous system plays on your hormones as well as energy levels. I call those things the positive side effects because they're certainly not the reason most people are coming in for adjustments to a chiropractic office, but they happen all of the time. Let's shift our focus to headaches. Headaches can be caused by eye strain. They can be caused by stress. They can be caused by tension in the upper neck from misalignments again, due to text neck, dehydration, and of course, they can also be from more serious complications. Your body is not telling you that you need aspirin. Headaches are not an aspirin deficiency. Nutridyne is my number one choice for the vast majority of my family supplements. I'm a huge fan of nearly everyone taking what I call the foundational 4 supplements: a multivitamin, a spore-based probiotic, omega-3 fish oil, and vitamin D3 with K2. The large majority of people are deficient in many of these nutrients, and they are the building blocks to gut health, immune system strength, brain health, heart health, and every other aspect of your health. Don't fall into the trap of chasing symptoms with supplements and instead start to rebuild your health with the foundational 4. We partnered with Nutridyne so that you can save 15% on every order, and not just with the foundational 4, but all of your other supplements as well. Go to foundationalhealth365.com, click on Shop Brands, and then Nutridyne, set up your account, and you're all set to automatically get 15% off all orders. Now let's get back to the Foundational Health Podcast. All right. Let's switch it up a little bit here and make it hopefully even more interesting and educational by looking at the symptoms that go along with getting sick and what your body is trying to accomplish and what it's trying to tell you so you can, if you choose, make a different choice next time you and your family are not feeling well. Let's start with inflammation. So for the sake of this discussion today, I'm going to be talking about short-term or acute inflammation, not chronic inflammation, which I'll address a bit more later when we talk about cholesterol. But we've been taught to believe that inflammation is the enemy, which is why there are so many pharmaceutical products to reduce inflammation, otherwise known as NSAIDs. And we're told to ice after injuries and bruises, all to reduce inflammation because, of course, inflammation is bad. But is it? Keep in mind, I'm not talking about chronic inflammation, which is bad. I'm talking about short-term acute inflammation. So instead of you taking my word for it, that I think inflammation is great, actually, not bad, let's see what Google AI, artificial intelligence, has to say about it. I'm going to read this word for word of what Google AI says when you type in, what is acute inflammation? So here it is. Acute inflammation is the body's immediate short-term response to an injury or infection characterized by redness, swelling, pain, and warmth at the affected site, which is a protective mechanism to help initiate the healing process. Essentially, it's a sudden and temporary inflammatory reaction to a harmful stimulus like a cut or a bacterial infection. Google AI goes on to say, key points about acute inflammation. Rapid onset. Symptoms appear quickly after an injury or exposure to a pathogen. In the short duration, it usually lasts only a few days. The classic signs: redness, swelling, heat, pain, potential loss of normal function at the affected area. Beneficial role. Listen to this one. Beneficial role helps to isolate the injury site, bring immune cells to the area to fight infection, and promote tissue repair. That's what Google AI has to say. And number 4 is worth repeating. Helps to isolate the injury site, bring immune cells to the area to fight infection, and promote tissue repair. Now, why in the world would we want to stop the body's ability to isolate an injury, fight infection, and repair tissue? I severely recently tore my hamstring last year while trying to conquer the warped wall. And for all of you Ninja Warrior fans out there, you know exactly what I mean. When I told people that I was not using any ice or NSAIDs, but instead I was stretching smartly, lightly, walking, using my PEMF mat at home, using my red light therapy, people looked at me like I was insane, and many outspoken friends and family and patients told me that I flat out was insane and I was going to cause long-term problems. I was never going to properly heal. But despite a severe tear that had all kinds of blood pooling in my lower leg and calf, it completely healed and I was back to normal workouts, running, squatting, deadlifting in less than 3 weeks. So here's the point to all of this. Most people think I'm extreme and just anti anything medical, but it's just literally not the case at all. I'm simply allowing my body to heal and giving it some basic things like light, movement, grounding, and of course, nutritional support to help the body do what it was designed to do. Acute inflammation is healing. As Google AI says, it is there to promote tissue repair. But here's the crazy part. Now, if you ask Google AI, what should you do to heal a hamstring tear? It tells you use ice and NSAIDs to bring down the acute inflammation. I don't know about you, but that doesn't make any sense. Why do I want to stop my body's ability to promote tissue healing when I just tore some tissue? So I fully realize most people think that I am crazy when I talk about this, but if you step back and use some critical thinking, you'll actually realize that they think I'm crazy. The reason they think I'm crazy is because they were taught by a system that is designed to promote pharmaceuticals. This isn't some crazy conspiracy theory. It's just what everything is based on. So whether you're a physical therapist, a chiropractor like myself, an athletic trainer, a dentist, an MD, or another health practitioner, we were all taught to just follow the status quo and not introduce critical thought. Everybody knows when you get an injury, rice, rest, ice, compress, elevate. But what? Like, now let's step back instead of just following the status quo and believing what we are told. What does rest, ice, compress, and elevate do? It reduces inflammation. It stops at times the inflammatory process that is there for fighting infection and tissue repair. We've been fed so much pharmaceutical propaganda for so long that it is literally accepted as truth and not questioned by anybody. We're told over and over again that our bodies are not smart and we shouldn't listen to them, but instead we need drugs, both over the counter and prescription, in order to heal. Anybody who speaks out against pharmaceutical drugs and tells you to simply listen to your body and allow it to do what it is designed to do is labeled as a quack. And honestly, the biggest compliment anyone can ever give me is to call me a quack, because I know then it means I am speaking the truth. I know that I'm speaking God's truth about trusting that our bodies can do what He designed them to do. That doesn't mean I'm opposed to drug intervention. That is not the case at all. In my opinion, drugs just shouldn't be the first line of defense for anything and everything, including side effects to other drugs, but they are. It's also important to understand that so many people are living so incongruent with how we are designed to live that their bodies can't heal very well at all. And that is why I will keep preaching the same message over and over about foundational health and giving our bodies the basic requirement that it needs to heal, the building blocks of healing. Okay, that was such a long tangent that most of you probably forgot where I was going with this. So let's look briefly at a few more symptoms and what Google AI says your body is doing, and also how Google AI tells you to treat it. Sneezing. Why do we sneeze? The body sneezes as a protective reflex to forcefully expel irritants like dust, pollen, or germs from the nasal passages, essentially clearing the nose and protecting the respiratory system from potential harm. Well, that's great, right? We're sneezing to get rid of things to protect our lungs. Treatment for a sneeze. Google AI says to treat sneezing, use over-the-counter medications like antihistamines or nasal sprays to relieve symptoms. Well, why in the world do we want to stop sneezing when it's keeping germs and other pathogens out of our lungs? That's what it's there to do. Let's look at coughing. Why do we cough? Coughing is a reflex that helps clear the airways of irritants such as mucus, dust, smoke, or allergens. Treatment for a cough. Cough suppressants. Fever. Elevated body temperature that inhibits the growth of bacteria and viruses by making it harder for them to survive at higher temperatures. Treatment. Over-the-counter medications like acetaminophen, Tylenol, or ibuprofen, Advil. I could keep going, but I think you get the point. The body is doing things to try to heal, but we are told over and over again to take drugs to suppress those normal bodily function, which absolutely impairs our ability to heal. I can tell you what taking drugs definitely does. It lines the pockets and raises the stocks of pharmaceutical companies that are worth hundreds of billions of dollars. Now let's move on to something a little bit bigger and more chronic, like elevated cholesterol. I had a ton of questions after my cholesterol and statins podcast, so I just wanted to hopefully simplify some things regarding this topic without going as in depth. Here's what we know about cholesterol. Dietary cholesterol has very, very little effect on cholesterol levels in your body. Cholesterol is produced in your body by your liver. Cholesterol is healing and protective. Here's what Google AI says when I typed in, why does the body produce cholesterol? The body produces cholesterol because it is a vital component for building cell membranes, creating hormones like testosterone and estrogen, aiding in vitamin D production, and facilitating the digestion of fats by producing bile acids. Essentially, the body needs cholesterol for various essential functions, and it produces it primarily in the liver to meet those needs. Google AI goes on to say, key points about cholesterol. Function. Cholesterol is a waxy substance that plays a crucial role in cell structure, hormone synthesis, and fat digestion. Production site. The liver is the primary organ responsible for producing cholesterol in the body. Dietary intake. While the body produces all of the cholesterol it needs, some cholesterol is also consumed through animal-based foods. Notice it didn't say absorbed, because that really doesn't happen. Very, very little. Consumed through animal-based foods, but it doesn't convert in the body to cholesterol. Concerns with high cholesterol. When cholesterol levels become too high, it can build up in arteries, forming plaque and increasing the risk of cardiovascular disease. So this is the part I really want to hit on so you can understand it. Your liver produces more cholesterol in times of need when the body gets injured or when people have chronic elevated levels of inflammation. So let's play you be the doctor. So you get to be the doctor for a minute here, and you try to throw out all of the brainwashing and propaganda you've been told by the pharmaceutical ads on TV and mainstream media, which is bought and paid for by the pharmaceutical companies. Not a conspiracy theory. We're one of 2 countries in the entire world that actually allows pharmaceutical companies to advertise directly to us. Us in New Zealand, that's it. You can go anywhere else in the world, you will never see a pharmaceutical ad because it is illegal. It controls everything in our country. Okay, here we go. Put your doctor hat on and think this through with actual critical thinking, not brainwashing. First, a little review from what we just discussed so it really hits home. Number 1, we know without a doubt that dietary cholesterol has very little effect on blood cholesterol. Number 2, we also know and have known for many decades that the body produces cholesterol in the liver primarily, and cholesterol is healing and protective for every cell in our bodies, including the linings of the inside of our vascular system, as well as our brains and every other area in the body. Number 3, we know that in times of need, aka elevated inflammation in the body, the liver gets a signal from our brain to produce more cholesterol to help lower inflammation and protect and heal our body. That part's really important. When we need it, the liver produces more cholesterol because it can help to lower inflammation in the body. So, with those 3 things in mind, if someone has elevated cholesterol, do you think it's a good idea to put that person on a cholesterol-lowering med, which, by the way, simply shuts down the liver's ability to produce cholesterol? That's what a statin does. It's nothing magical. It just stops the liver's ability to produce cholesterol. So give this some critical thought before you answer, because remember, you get to be your own doctor here. We know cholesterol is healing, protective, and helps lower inflammation, and it's produced by the liver. So if you have high levels of inflammation, would you want to stop your liver from being able to produce cholesterol so you can feel better about having lower cholesterol numbers while you let the inflammation run rampant in your body, causing damage to your brain, heart, vessels, gut, joints, and muscles? Or B, figure out how to lower the inflammation in your body so your liver doesn't have to continue to produce excess cholesterol? I really hope you chose B. If you chose B and address your chronic inflammation, you will allow your body to heal the way God designed it to heal. So by no means am I suggesting you ignore high levels of cholesterol. Quite the opposite, actually. What I am suggesting is that you figure out what's causing it. So if we go back to what Google AI said, Concerns with high cholesterol. When cholesterol levels become too high, it can build up in arteries, forming plaque and increasing the risk of cardiovascular disease. So that's what Google AI says, and I agree with that 100%. But here is the problem with that. As I talked about in my cholesterol podcast, blaming cholesterol for heart disease is equivalent to blaming firemen for fires. Yes, the cholesterol is at the scene of the crime, just like the fireman is at the scene of the crime. But we all know the fireman is there to help put out the fire, which is exactly what cholesterol is doing in your blood. It is there to put out the fire of inflammation caused by stress, by lack of sleep, dehydration, constant exposure to artificial blue light after dark when we're not supposed to be exposed to it, lack of exercise, lack of sunlight, lack of fresh air, and the number one culprit, ultra-processed crap that we are told is food. Ultimately, not living in alignment with the way God designed us to live. The only way to fix that problem is to start living in alignment with the way we're designed to live. 2 recommendations for those of you who want to start doing that and are sick of living the average American lifestyle and being average and sick. Number 1, listen to the Rebuild Your Health podcast, episode 12. And number 2, download for free the Rebuild Your Health 60-day protocol, which you can find at foundationalhealth365.com. A couple other key points to hit on before wrapping this podcast up. Learning to listen to our bodies can give great insight into your health, and it can also give you extra motivation to change some lifestyle habits that might need and probably do need an upgrade. For example, do you ever pay attention to how you feel after eating? Did you know that ultra-processed foods have been linked to depression, mood disorders, anxiety, fatigue, brain fog, headaches, and many, many more not so good things? Literally hundreds of times in my practice over the past 25 years in working with people on improving their nutrition to incorporate more God food and less man food, I've heard people say over and over, I can't believe how good I feel after eating God food, and now I recognize how awful I feel after eating the way I used to eat. And of course, when you start to recognize those things, it's just extra motivation to keep eating better on a regular basis. How about paying attention to how you feel after going for a walk outside in the fresh air or a good workout at the gym? Pretty much everyone knows you just feel better after moving more and working out, which is a sign that your body needs it and is craving it. I've seen a sign in several gyms that says, in quotes, I regret that workout, said nobody ever. So true, and anybody who's ever experienced that knows. I've been asked several times over the past year, how do you have a full-time chiropractic job, prepare for your podcast, spend time with your family, and remodel your house on the weekend and still find time to work out? So for me, the answer is easy. It's a priority. It's something I consider non-negotiable, so I just do it. It's built into my daily schedule. It takes priority literally over other things, so I don't really have to put a lot of thought into it because I know how good it is for me. I know how I feel after because I'm listening to my body, which is energized and great, which helps me focus, and it gives me the energy to accomplish all of the other things I need to accomplish. I know it makes me a better husband. I know it makes me a better dad. My wife and my children do the workouts with me. It's a fun family thing. So most people look at it all wrong, and they think, I'm already tired, so I can't spend more energy working out or I'll be more tired. I literally hear this all of the time from people, but it's the polar opposite, really. You create energy through movement, and the more you move, the more you want to move. So start moving more and make it a priority. Don't overthink it either. You don't need a gym membership. You don't need the perfect workout clothes, the perfect shoes to get started. Just start today. Do some push-ups, do some jumping jacks, do some air squats, go for a walk. Just do something and make it a priority every day. turn off the TV, put down the cell phone, get up, start moving. I promise you, your body will thank you for it. As I promised in the beginning, here are some simple ways to help you de-stress and unplug from all of the noise. That's what this podcast is all about. De-stress, unplug, so you can actually listen to your body and what it's trying to tell you. Number one, turn off your cell phone whenever possible, or do what I do and put it on airplane mode whenever it's on your body, first of all, to avoid EMFs, and also whenever you need to focus and relax or sleep. Number two, turn off all of the unnecessary notifications on your phone and your computer. My phone is on silent 99% of the time, and I only have two things ever that can pop up as a notification. That's a phone call and a text message. That's it. Most people have dings and rings and buzzes for emails, calls, texts, calendar reminders, social media, and more. Turn them off. Literally, take your phone today, turn them off. You do not need to know every single time you get a Facebook message or a Facebook notification, for that matter. And turn your phone off or put it on airplane mode at night when you sleep. What about emergencies? Every time I brought that up, that's what I get. Well, what about emergencies? I have to leave my cell phone on. That is for sure the number one question that I get. And here's my recommendation. This is the reason my family has a house phone. Costs us about $10 a month. And if someone really needs to get a hold of us when we're sleeping, they know to call our house phone. I'm certainly not going to leave my cell phone on at night and possibly have mine or my family's sleep interrupted because of an unnecessary phone call, because of an unnecessary text message, or something else that might pop up. And most people are doing that on a regular basis. Number three, move more. Unless you're walking daily and working out 3 to 6 times per week, your body is literally craving movement. And something I didn't mention earlier, when you work out more, you crash at night. Exactly what's supposed to happen. Energy during the day, crash at night with good, solid, sound sleep. And when sleep improves, so does everything else, because this is where our body does about 80% of its healing during the deep stages of sleep. When you're well rested, you're able to be more in tune with your body and listen to your body. Number 4, develop a sleep routine. Don't just keep saying, I need to get better sleep. Actually develop a game plan, and at the very least, follow the 10-3-2-1-0 rule that I talk about so much. 10, stop all caffeine intake 10 hours before sleep, because it does disrupt sleep. Whether you feel it or not, it interferes with sleep. 3, stop all food consumption 3 hours before sleep. 2, stop anything stressful, including stressful conversations, especially financial conversations, watching the news. Stop that 2 hours before sleep. 1, stop all screen time 1 hour before sleep. And 0, hit the snooze button 0 times. Number 5, spend more time in nature. Ideally while walking, taking deep breaths, walking barefoot whenever possible, which allows you to ground with the earth, which is incredibly healing. Let the sunshine hit your skin for vitamin D3 production while allowing it to enter your eyes also without blocking those incredibly beneficial circadian rhythm balancing rays with sunglasses. Tons of science behind that. You actually want that sun entering your eyes, balancing your circadian rhythm. And this is kind of crazy, but there's actually a lot of studies showing that this is how amazing our bodies are. When the sunlight is entering your eyes, letting the full UVA, UVB lights in without blocking it, it actually causes our body to produce a reaction on our skin that makes it less likely for you to burn. How cool is that? And now let's wrap this all up with the inspirational and educational takeaways. Number 1, Success equals simple habits performed daily over time. I covered a lot today. Don't get overwhelmed. Pick out what makes sense to you to start changing it, and then change it. When you're ready to incorporate something new, do it, and then keep doing it daily. That is where success happens in the long term. Number 2, once your eyes have been opened to the fact that our world is built around pharmaceuticals instead of trusting and listening to our bodies, it is like a whole new world opens up to you, and you will, I promise, you will start seeing it everywhere you turn. Embrace it and continue to educate yourself, and remember, God made your body to be a self-regulating, self-healing machine. Number 3, you are a leader. You got this. The best is yet to come. If you enjoyed today's podcast and found it beneficial, I want you to think about who needs to hear this message. Be a leader for them. Drop them a text and tell them to check out the Foundational Health Podcast with Dr. Kevin Schultz. Are you listening to your body? Until next time, make health your hobby. Thank you for listening to the Foundational Health Podcast. As always, if you would like to learn more about making health your hobby, visit our website at foundationalhealth365.com and follow me on Facebook at Kevin Schultz DC Foundational Health.